Okay, thank you. Good morning. Um, Name is McKenna Richardson. I have started a company called Veritas Eco Disaster Recovery. Um, my company is doing construction management and civil engineering, primarily focused on governmental contracting for infrastructure projects. Today, I'm here with you guys just to tell you a little bit about the company, which is us. We handle contracts, governmental contracts, and basically trim the fat from construction projects. And by trimming the fat, I'm referring to typical waste that we usually see in construction projects having to do with the schedule elongation, um, and just non-compliance with government contracts. So we've had many years of experience working with these type of contracts, and so we bring more value um, into this field, um, being able to save the clients money as we manage these projects. A little bit about myself. How did I get here? I worked as a teenager. I worked with a contractor in high school, and that was basically like my motivating start. Um, I probably wouldn't have ended up in this type of career had I not had the opportunity to work with an assistant coach who was a general contractor uh, back in California. And that kind of just struck my interest in it. I was like, I asked him one day, I said, "Hey, how do you do this?" So here I am today, several years later, and I'm excited to be here with you guys. Um, at this moment, I guess I would just open it up for any questions if anyone has any questions for me.
Can you share an example of a project that you've done recently and what your role was? And yeah, I guess just
Sure
that.
thing. Yeah, so recently I've worked at in the city of West Branch doing the Herbert Hoover Channel Restoration Project as a construction manager representative. Um, so basically what, construction manager reps do, they are sort of the liaison to the client, which would be the governmental entity, but um, you handle a lot of this, the scheduling, subcontractors on the project, invoicing, RFIs, change orders, and just kind of make sure things are smooth. We do inspections on site, and this project was very, very challenging in the sense of only because doing a project during pandemic, which most people are like, I think everyone can agree the pandemic just kind of tossed it out, challenged everybody in many different ways. So other than that, we were happy to, be getting to the point where we're able to wrap this up. But, I'm proud that we were able to accomplish the things that we needed during an unprecedented time. So you never know on a construction site, what's going to happen. So I don't think anybody really plans for a pandemic in the middle of their construction, but we worked with it. So basically the construction manager and the team, that's all, that's what we do. And you're always ready for a surprise when you do a construction project. So I think if I was to say any past projects that I've worked on that I could give you examples of would be more like a FEMA project I worked on in the past. And that was really interesting. Hurricane Katrina relief work in New Orleans. So very proud of some of that work that I've done in the past as well. I'm hoping to incorporate a lot of that into the work that I do now, working on some FEMA disaster resiliency projects, and just helping to build back communities better and more efficient, more sustainable.
McKenna, this is Matt. Thanks for sharing your story. I was curious a little bit. You talked about kind of almost the insight from a coach / mentor. Could you just talk a little bit more about I know you kind of said, you basically raised your hand and said, how's this work? But what do you think made that that relationship work so that you wanted to continue to do this?
Well, basically, just having that personal relationship with the assistant coach. I played basketball in high school, and we went on a lot of trips together, and it's kind of like someone you look up to when you're young in your teenage years. And I think my deal was I wanted to work kind of part-time on the weekends and in the summertime to make a little money. So I knew he had his own business, so I asked him. I said, hey, do you think I could work with you over the summer, just to make some money? I want to start working and put away some savings and whatnot. And he was like, yeah, sure, why not? So he hired me, and I think he paid me a little bit extra, like more than probably should have paid somebody that just really didn't have any experience. But it was nice anyways. But because he was showing me the ropes and how to do everything. So basically we built some houses up in the California hills, and and it was a lot of fun. He create little tasks for me to start me off initially, like working on some roofing, siding, and building staircases in the place, and then doing little runs to the construction supply store to get things for the site and all that. So I was doing basically little building blocks of how it is to work in the residential construction industry. And by the time the summer came to a wrap, I asked him, I said, hey, if I wanted to do this for long term, how would that work out? And like, what would I need to do? He was like, well, you can always, go into contracting or, go into construction. And I said, okay, well, so then that, prompted my interest to go into civil engineering. And then from there, I later went to get a construction management degree, because I realized after a while, like actually like more on the construction side than I did, than maybe designing or any of those things. So I actually just liked seeing the things being built and being out there, in nature,
Yeah.
so it's a lot more fun when you don't have to be for me, it was when I don't have to be behind a computer screen 100% of the time, and I can actually walk the field and then, be out on the site watching everything get built. And, that at the end of the day is like, just motivates me and gives me satisfaction, because those things are everlasting, and I can come back years later and say, hey, I worked on that project, and that's fulfilling for me. Or, hey, I helped those people. I built something better to help a community. So
that's great. Thank you. And one other question, because as you were talking about kind of pandemic and how we didn't see that. And one of the things coming out of that, I'm just curious is, I know we've seen it probably more with lumber, but some construction supplies, like costs have just skyrocketed in the past year. So wondering how that impacts your company as you're trying to manage and look at waste, when like supply costs and supply chain have been kind of disrupted a little bit over the past year.
Well, I think that's probably where my company would, be a little bit of a set apart from some other companies, because I have more of a focus on, LEED certified project sustainability. And, I have a passion for environmental construction. So basically, as I was talking earlier, trimming the fat from the projects, I anticipate trying to incorporate more of those best practices into the projects that we handle from my standpoint with this company. So using locally made resources or supplies, so that we get from our own communities, and reusing as much materials and things that are recycling materials on projects. I think if more companies did that, it would be better for our community. So in the past, we've seen a lot of companies not really have a focus on that. So they're always buying new materials and, getting things from wherever they're, importing them here or whatever. But really, we've seen, just as we've seen with the past with the pandemic, pretty much those days are obsolete. We have to start looking at how we can reserve our resources, and use local supplies and materials. So I plan to incorporate all those best practices into the planning stages of the construction projects that I utilize.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you talk about how you find work? Like, is this a kind of you respond to an RFP from local areas, or do they come to you? How does that look like?
So basically, there's a couple of ways to find projects. I do participate in a lot of organizations that, work in construction. So through those, sometimes you see opportunities through there, but also there are some portals, statewide, and that give out information or sources sought for bids that are up and coming all over the place, and not just in the state of Iowa, but throughout the United States. So when those solicitations come, you basically, can put, I basically go in and I put what I'm looking for, or what projects that I'm willing to do with my company. And then it filters through those systems, and those are the ones that get sent to me like daily or weekly. And then from those, I just kind of select which ones I think would be best fits for the type of work I want to do and that I do with my company. So at that point, it's just responding to the bid solicitation and preparing proposals.
Hi, McKenna. Thanks so much for being here today. My question for you is, you work with local, federal, or local, state, and federal governments. Could you tell us, and maybe to the entrepreneurs that might be listening, on how you were able to access to be able to get yourself on a list to become someone that was able to bid on those contracts for local, state, and government projects?
So let me just paraphrase your question, because I heard a couple things. How did I get myself on a list to be able to be prepared and to be able to bid for those type of governmental projects?
Was there a process that you had to go through to bid on those projects?
Yeah, it is a long, extensive process. But yeah, part of it is that I started working years ago, started working in this little niche. So that's part of it. That took a while. That was several years of gaining experience doing that before I, basically realized that, my interest was in, the contract side of the work. So that's one thing. Then the next thing is, I had to put myself in a position to do that on my own, which required just basically a lot of webinars for me, seeking information on how to do that. And I spent a lot of extra late night hours researching and reading, how to get into it on my own time. So that was one thing. And then asking questions. I asked a lot of questions to some of the people I worked with in the past, like supervisors, and I asked them, hey, if I wanted to do this on my own or get these type of contracts, how can I do so? And I think the most important thing I would say to young entrepreneurs out there, anyone interested in doing this type of work, it was really, for me, a lot of relationship building. I think I have really great friends that, I've met along the way throughout my career, that I was able to, keep, build relationships with and keep in touch with them, even when I wasn't working on projects with them any longer. Like I kept them in my life, or I give them updates on, what I'm doing with my career and how I'm doing. And sometimes I just check in and say, hey, happy holiday or something, even though I haven't seen them in a while. And those relationships to me, I really can't put a value to that in numerically, but it's very meaningful. And I'm very blessed to be able to now, when I feel like I was ready to do this, reach back out and ask those type of questions. But other than that, I would say, getting certified, um, taking the leap of faith. Really, if someone wants to do that, take the leap of faith and think of the name you want for your company, and just dive in, and then don't be scared to fail, um, and then go out and get all the certifications that you need, so that you're and the qualifications you need, so you're able to do that type of work.
McKenna, I love your story of kind of mentorship when you were younger, how you got into this career path. Do you see any programs locally that are doing similar things, or do you offer like internship experiences with your company, or is that something you might consider in the future?
Yeah, so I definitely want to, I want to utilize my company as a way to bring um, other people in, like maybe disenfranchised people, into this industry, and create more careers, not just at the on-site, as field level workers, but on the management side. There are definitely a lot of opportunities, within this industry, that I think sometimes get overlooked, that other people don't realize, those are possibilities. I think when people hear construction, the first thing you think of is like a construction worker out on the site that's, driving the equipment, or, you know, doing actual work and like digging something up. Okay, that's one part of this industry, yes, and that is very important. But there are also other, career, directions that you can take, you know, if you have other skill sets, or, if people have other interests. And I think those are, the opportunities that I want to bring to, um, communities, like, um, communities that are disenfranchised or underrepresented. So, I definitely am building a platform to have, um, interns work with me, so they can develop skills that they need to, have some, go in and take some of those type of career positions. And I also, would, working on apprenticeship, working with some organizations locally to have some apprenticeship programs, available, coming up in the future. So, when those things are pretty much set in stone, and we're almost ready, we're ready to roll those out, I would be happy to share those opportunities for everyone.
Yeah, I think it's much needed, and I'm really excited to hear that you're working towards that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was going to kind of ask about team in the future. Sounds like you've kind of got a vision for that. Where do you see your company going in the next 5 to 10 years?
Uh, Hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, I see myself, my company, you know, growing, as far as employees, and also in a couple different markets. Um, I actually have plans to hopefully take this globally. Not just want to keep it here, but there are some other communities in other countries and stuff that I'd like to help. Even if it's just a somewhat uh, volunteer, programs to help communities that suffer, like that don't have bridges, or things like that, and they have a lot of flooding. I'm hoping I can expand and share some of my work in those communities to help people out. So 5 to 10 years, I'm hoping I have a couple offices in a few different locations and a team of people. And hopefully I'm helping, I'm working with some maybe nonprofit organizations or community organizations that will have a program to teach youth and get them into this type of industry at an earlier age. And especially for women and LGBTQ individuals that, are more at risk for not having that type of employment opportunities.
Sure. Very cool.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Hey, I have a question. What are some tools that you have or that you wish you had that might make your job easier or just better, if anything?
Sorry, could you repeat that question?
Are there any tools that you have or you wish you had that might make your job easier or improve, I don't know, your productivity?
Yeah, I mean, the better software you have can help, improve the operations for the project. I think that's one thing I'm looking into, is getting some more software, as I'm building. Another thing is just you can't do it all. One person can't do it all. So building a great team of people that have different skill sets is important and vital, because there's so many different elements to this type of work that I'm doing. So you really need some specialized people in certain areas, such as, specialized people with contracting, procurement, and estimating, scheduling, project planning, and different things. I hope that answered your question.
I was just curious for the entrepreneurs in the room, if there was a need that, anyone could address, or if you needed help with anything, which we'll get to in the last question. I know a software person, if you need a referral there, of course.
Sure thing. Actually, I'm looking for, I'm looking to fill a few different elements with the company. So one would be a sales and marketing person, that handles something like that. And then people that maybe have an interest in contract management or procurement. Those are some areas, and definitely for my website and some of the social media platforms. So I'm looking for person with experience with websites, IT, those kind of things. So there'll be some opportunities coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna message you my email because I think you should connect with some people here.
I appreciate it.
And I'd love to connect with you outside of this. I'm a realtor here in the area, so I know construction people too. I know people at the Home Builders Association, so I'd love to connect you with whoever you need.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
What would you say has been your greatest success so far? Professionally. You can give us personal too. I like it all.
Professionally, right now, my greatest success right now is just starting this company. I'm very proud of myself for, taking the leap of faith. I mean, it's something I thought about for years. And a lot of times, there are times when, I felt like, maybe discouraged, or, oh, that might be too much. And when am I going to, you never know, I just never knew when I was, when am I ready to do that? But I guess you're never actually ready. You just have to just have to have the courage to get out there and do it. Because what I found is, if I kept telling myself, well, I need this, I need more experience, I need to do this, and I need more of this, and I need more of that. And, and the next thing you know, you're looking up and it's like several years later, I mean, it's like, when are you gonna, you know, uh, have the courage to go out there and do it? You gotta at some point just do it. And so I got to the point where I said, you know what, I'm gonna make mistakes. Um, I'm not gonna know everything. I don't think anybody ever does, but what I can do is like those areas that I'm strongest at, those is what, that's what I focus on, and and then recruit very well and ask questions and not, and don't be afraid to fail. So
Thank you.
Looks like one of the students may have a question. It might work if they come up closer to wherever the microphone and camera are.
Can you come over so they can see you? And please introduce your name and your company as well.
A bit too close.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Hello, I'm Hardeep. We're developing a lung monitor that patients can essentially take home, and clinicians can monitor their lung physiology while the patients are at home. So a question I had was, I guess in the construction business, there's a lot of, like nowadays I'm seeing that construction companies are starting to take up our agricultural land. So what do you think of, how does that I guess what are your thoughts on that?
So, just to paraphrase, your question is, what do I think about construction companies that are taking up the agricultural land?
Yeah. At least that's what I've seen in Iowa. So and I don't know, because also with world hunger being an issue, and um, with these gas construction companies taking up agricultural land, that would probably create a lot of problems in the future.
I think, I guess my stance on that would be, that's a very deep topic. Well, it is anywhere, really. I've seen in other states, some of the local farmers or people that want to save, the agricultural land, petition against construction companies that are coming into those areas. So, and I've seen that, hold up construction projects in many different places that I've been. So, what I would say is there is a lot of conversations and different entities that that meet and go over that kind of stuff. I mean, I can't really say I guess from my point of view, I can't really say opinion here with me is that I think agricultural land is just as important. And obviously I want to save, I have a focus in environmental, so I want to save as much of the land and the species that are there that are native to certain areas. So I like to make sure I incorporate those pieces into the work that I do. So I think the best thing to do is maybe try to change the narrative or the focus on some of those companies to really put more of the emphasis on taking a little extra time to consider those elements, before they construct projects. But there's just, this topic is so deep. It's just so much. I could really get into this for several hours and we don't really have that much time. But what I will say is that I definitely have seen through like environmental compliance issues and other organizations that fight for these causes, I've seen construction projects basically get shut down or be delayed to start because you have those organizations that are fighting to preserve those lands. So here I couldn't tell you because I don't know how many of those organizations are here or who's doing that, but I just know that they exist. So that hopefully that's something I'll hear about the longer I'm here.
Thank you.
No problem.
Wow. Thank you.
Thanks. Any other questions? From the students or regular participants?
I'm curious, and forgive me if I missed this before I jumped on. Were you able to help
I'm sorry, I think you froze.
or commercial?
I'm sorry, you froze
jobs?
for a second, so I didn't catch your question.
Oh, I'm sorry. And it's telling me my internet's unstable. That's not good. My question is, were you able to help locally with the derecho last August? Was there any project that you worked on with that in either the Iowa City or Cedar Rapids, Lynn County area?
I actually didn't do much of the derecho work. I kind of was not involved in that work in a official way. So no, and I do think there's still plenty of things that we need to do to help out with the effects of that aftermath of the derecho. So that's definitely something to look into, and I don't mind I'm looking into those renovations and different things that are, because there's still plenty of things that we can do to help the communities after derecho. So, but I would say not initially. No.
I guess kind of related to that, how did that affect, you said you were working on the Herbert Hoover Park at the time. How did that affect your progress on that project?
Yeah, so that was interesting. It was a little, some unexpected things that occurred. We definitely had to make some, changes on the fly, with things that weren't anticipated from just some destruction from the derecho. So that changed a few things, but we adjusted accordingly. And when things like that happen, it's more of a it's more of just a unexpected occurrence, and then you just have a lot of conversations, and this is what we call like a change order or something. So there was some additional work that needed to be done because of it, and,
Okay. Any other questions? Not hearing any. I will go ahead and ask our traditional final question. What can we as the community do to help you?
as the community.
Yes.
Well, definitely, I'm looking for support in certain areas. Like I said, I'll be looking for people with experience in social media platforms, website design, IT. I'm also looking to raise capital for my company. So, I need to purchase software and software and equipment. Probably need a location that would be, nice to have, small office somewhere, where I can, maybe add a couple team members and do some great work. But the biggest thing is capital. Can't hire people if I don't have funds to hire people, and I can't, move forward if I don't have all the type of equipment I need and softwares in place, and basically. So it's almost like a catch-22. I want to help, and I want to get more people involved and create opportunities in our community, and I want to do some great work here, especially providing some relief for some like the disasters and derecho, and building back some of the infrastructure here and helping out the communities. But in order to do that, I got to be able to raise some capital. So
Very nice. And how do people get in touch with you after today's session?
well, I'm around. No, I'm just kidding. People can get in touch with me through my website, which is VeritasEcoDisaster.com.
Mhm.
And I will drop that in the chat for you. Or you can email me at McKenna@VeritasEcoDisaster.com. So I'll drop those in there. There's a contact page on my website. Will give you information on a phone number to reach me at, and my email address. And if you wanted to subscribe or have questions, those links are also on there.
Sure.
And I'll drop that in there for you so people can have that.
Very cool. Well, thank you. I learned a lot today. This is a great
Thank you.
presentation.